Hey guys, in this episode we're gonna make this amazing weapon. It's sci-fi inspired and I hope you're ready. Remember, sub, like, all that. Let's go. Welcome back guys. So a new scene and then we just import a reference picture. And I will link in the description the picture I'm using and then we just align it as we want it. You can do this however you want because we can adjust it at the end. So then I used to start with a plane and just rotate it towards the camera, and then I make it transparent and start just blocking out the biggest shapes. And like in the start I just like to have rather it covering more than it can rather than less. And then you just try to figure out how the shape would be best for you. So yeah, I guess you're gonna be putting it wrong, but kill your darlings if you know the term, because you don't have to stick by something that you don't necessarily did well. Keeping up, and this is gonna be a low poly game ready, but it's also gonna have some poly count because like I wanted to make this awesome. Yeah, and as you can see I align up the cuts here so that we can get some indent later on. And the blade I just extrude it out using E, and then we just keep on going. Remember that you can use G and then G again, and then you will just slide the poly or the vertex along the axis so you don't need to mess it up. And for this I just Ctrl B to bevel it just to get a small little edge. And I just cut this manually just because I like to have some control over it, and yeah, the tools don't always make it completely good, I would say. And then I just take it in so like it would be a thicker metal there, and then I just move the edge so I will get it sharp. So moving forward I'm just trying to get an extruded edge here. So then we take the magnet tool and set it to vertex and just drag it so you know that it snaps to the same axis. So yeah, and then it's just going over and I'm trying to adjust it, and I can see that something went wrong, but that's always how it is. There's always something messing up. Then to support the structure we just make a cut here and use GG to move it. And then just select the vertex, M to merge, and then at last. As you can see, I have some issues with overlapping here. So I just take merge by distance and set the distance down, and then I know everyone should be merged if they are double up. Then we just start to fill up, make everything clear so we can be ready to, yeah, to when we mirror it. So, and just make this one double G to slide it along the axis, and then I did the same with the whole line, beveled it, and now we can make an indentation there because I think that's a really cool detail to have on these kinds of weapons. But at the edge I cannot just push it into the sides, so I'm trying to push it a bit in first, and then we kind of have to look into adjusting it a little bit just so that it doesn't overlap. And here you can see also that we need this one to go in there and indent it a bit. GG didn't work too well here, so I had to do that manually. Also, this is a nice way of doing this. Just select the face and press I, and then you will insert a face. And then I didn't like the initial shape, so I just wanted to make it a bit sharper. And I wanted some more of them, so I just started with making this one and just trying out to see what shape I would like. And as you can see, it's just about testing, see how you can get the shape right. I decided I want to go for 3 holes there. I wanted to have the roughly same shape but different sizes, so it's just about tweaking them. And yeah, and here I struggle a bit, but remember the turn of snapping. I did forget that multiple times. But yeah, now I feel more happy about it. Just delete them. We're gonna fix that when we mirror. And we have another one here. We're gonna do the same. And just as the other one, I tried to make this a bit sharper, dragging this down a bit and delete. And even though we are using a reference, I'm gonna edit the style so it will be our personal style, but the image is really good. I really like the style of it. And then you just take a mirror modifier, apply it. So now we have a lot of topology to work with. So now we're gonna be selecting this one and be dragging them out. And you scroll up and down to adjust the size, but be careful when you move this much geometry because you might end up messing something up. And then I just select and control select, and then it will select everything on the path to that one and drag it down. This gives it a bit more, yeah, smoothness. And then we just take this, scale it on the x-axis to make it flat again, and then I just drag it up on a feeling. We're gonna refine this later and scale this on X as well, just to make sure it's flat. So moving forward, we are just trying to go through everything, and as you can see here, we have a non-planar face. That basically means that it doesn't know how to reflect light because of the angle it has. I will not over-explain that. Yeah, and then it's just checking. So I decided to fill it like this, and I wanted a cut in the middle because I wanted to be a bit sharper. And I actually ended up liking it being a bit sharp on the edge. So I think that works pretty well. Yeah, and then now it's more about filling these holes. Just alt select all the edges and then just right click and bridge. And that would just fill it automatically. So I try to bevel this one. It's really on the edge of what it allows. I had to manually adjust it a bit. But I can see it becoming an issue. So I took a try different things, but I think this works. On this one, bevel would work because the edges are so far away. But on this one, I decided to just cut inside and then just scale it down instead. So rather use the space that I have inside because it isn't much topology in there. And then, of course, I ended up just deleting again and mirroring it just because I didn't want to do it again. So just going over, checking that everything is correctly, then again, mirror modifier. And just get used to that. This is going to be the process multiple times. I don't know why I always need to merge it, but I just like to have the whole model to work with. And now I put on the mirror modifier on the top and I delete the edges. And then we just do the same, bridge over. And same for these need to be bridged as well. Yeah, so it's starting to look good. So now it's just more about, yeah, finding all the issues and make sure that it's all good. Let's see. The blade, I want it to be bigger. I really like that one. It didn't ruin it too much, but it gave me more strength in my opinion. And I want some cyber. So here we choose individual points, which means that they won't go through relative to each other. You will just scale them for their own faces. And then we try to add some wings on it, just make it more cyber. And then I took again and just made it mirror and scale it. Now I just wanted a hole, so just select each one of them, insert, delete, select edges, bridge edge tool. And I think in the game this would be nice to have like some chains or something going through them. That would look really, really nice. So now it's looking good. Remember to choose the edges that you want to have sharpened. Here we fix up this one, just scale it in, move it up. Yeah, just so it don't clip through. And this hole's gonna be a nice addition to where we can kind of add some emission inside and stuff like that. And we will fix up this later. And I just aligned some of the vertexes, make them look better. So this is a bit of detailing. And here I'm just marking them to be smooth instead of being hard. And I think it's time to go to the next mesh, which is the circle. So I set the circle to 12 edges, scale, rotate, and put it into place. So I like the placement there and just try to work with that. And then we just select the edges, scale in, and this time as well I will just work on the one side and then I will just mirror it afterwards. So just make some cyber forms in here, select circle and bridge edge tool, and then I select an edge, try to select and see where I kind of want to make an indent here as well to have the cyber function. And then I tried this, but this doesn't really work out. So I deselect the faces there, and then we press insert and then extrude inwards. And this gave a nice result and no weird topology. Then I make a cut in the middle just to make sure that I can delete that later and mirror. And then we just take an insert and an extrude inward. And now I just want it to connect to the rest of the gun. And you can use shift and the axis that you don't want to have to just press shift Z or X or Y. In this case it was Y, and then it will scale in every other direction except that one. And then we take an insert, extrude, and just make it look more cybery. Insert, and then I extrude this one out, give it some small details. But I swear to you, the textures is really what's gonna kill this one and make it dope. But the model is getting really, really nice, in my opinion. And then we start with the mirroring, checking up, and then we just check that everything looks good. And then we can go through and just check that it's nothing wrong. Then I copy off this one because I don't want to make the whole thing down there again. So now we're just gonna alter this. We're gonna save time and it's gonna be sweet. So the blade cannot be like this. I'm testing a bit back and forth just to see how it could work. And scale this to be flat. So I just scale and the Z axis, and then we are sure it's totally flat. So I don't want to have this to be as big as it is. So we just take this one and we clean up and remove additional faces, and then we just select the edges, bridge edge tool. It's the favorite in this project at least. And now we have like small wings, and then just trying different things. But I'm ending up just taking it here. I think that's good enough. Need some thickness, some roughness. So now I'm taking on the magnet tool and then just taking it on one and one axis. So just G, Z and G, X while the magnet tool is, and then select the vertices that I wanted to line up with. So then we fill up this, insert and take it down. Just E down, and then I shift D to duplicate it. Then I take it up, extrude it so it's kind of like fits to it, and it seems like it's kind of like an ammo crate, like you can take it out and just separated, and I thought that was a nice detail. And then I just align it to where I think it looks good. And then I derail to the next issue, which is that I didn't like this one. So I'm setting it up like this. And a little trick is that if you take a vertex and you want to slide it along an axis, you would naturally just press G twice. But if you press G twice, and then you slide it along one axis, and then you press the C key, then you can slide it the other way around as well. So I forgot this workflow a bit, and as you can see, I'm just struggling, but you press C and then you can do something like this, right? And same for this one. Press C and you can drag it the other way. The magnet tool didn't want to work on this, so I kind of had to eye it a bit. But seems good. And then it's just to fill the edges. It seems like the shadowing was weird, so I just used the knife tool to make sure that it didn't mess it up. And people are so afraid of triangles, but know that every game engine, it's gonna triangulate your mesh. So it's pro and cons always. And I delete the faces inside because we don't need them. And I scaled instead of moving, so now I just moved it instead, changing the edges. And to be honest, it's starting to look pretty nice, in my opinion. So now I want to make like a hole where we can have the initial scaling in, or the bar that you're going to be holding on. And then I duplicate this one and take off the magnet tool. Duplicate, take it down, scale on the Z axis to make it flat. And then it's supposed to be fitting right into the hole. And then just scale it a bit so it's smoother in there. And then I just extrude it so we kind of have like a magazine. And I want to have like some adaptation to make it to a circle. So then we just start with altering the topology to be more circular. So making it a bit. With the loop tool, you usually can make it a circle, but this just messed up everything on this one. Didn't work, so I used additional workflow. I tried first to just go into vertex and make it relaxed or smooth vertices, which is a decent tool in some cases, but it didn't really give me what I wanted. So I used it just to make a bit smoother. And then I took a circle instead, make it 12 edges as I counted all the edges. And then I just move it to the center and then select the both loops and just bridge edge loop again. And as you can see, now we get a perfect circle. And there we go. And now it's just about to align it. So using the snap tool to make it align better. And then we can just extrude. And now we have like a magazine slot we can use. Just drag this upward. And then we take the whole thing. And it will just click into there. And it seems good. It's a bit high, I can see. But I will be fixing that later. So making some edge loops, seeing if I can make like a weld spot there. But I'm a little bit afraid of you ruining the topology and it's not going to be too visible. So I end up not doing that. And then I just bevel this one and scale it down with Shift Z. So it just goes on these two axes, X and Y. So now it's a bit thinner and seems like it's meant to be like this. Next up, we need to kind of make it more cyber. So I make an interesting cut and adapt to it. So just Ctrl R and just drag it to where I want it to be. Then I select some faces, drag it up and down like this. then use Control B to bevel, I to insert and scale it afterwards. And I use Shift set so it doesn't go weirdly inside. Remember to turn off mirror tool, and there we go. Now we have an interesting look on it. And I make sure to make this whole thing smooth. So in this case, this is gonna be a spear, kind of. But like I made it into a double-edged spear, and you can also make it into a sword with the right handle. So this is just more about preferences rather than limited to, I would say. You can see from the image that we're using, you could also just do it like this. I wanted to make something special, so just select every other, and then I scale it up, and then just start extruding and playing around with it. Something like this. Extrude, and then everything at the bottom, and merge at center. And make it like this. Then when I select all of them, I Control T, that will triangulate them, just to make sure that the light is going correctly. And then I make that hard, and this smoothed. Yeah, and then I just go through, smooth what it needs to be smoothed, and make it look good. In my opinion, this looks pretty decent. And yeah, congratulations. So this is just tweaking this one down. Need to go over, check for possible mistakes, stuff like that. But overall, congratulations, you made it. Thanks for watching all the way through. I hope to see you in the next one, and I hope that you liked it. So sub, like, and see you next time.